All right, what is going on, NBA fans? Appreciate you guys tuning in. We are past midnight, so we are past day one of NBA free agency. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Did a little live stream a little bit earlier on specific to Los Angeles Lakers basketball. A lot of Laker fans on this channel, but also I know a lot of NBA fans as well. And for me, definitely for professional living, I cover Lakers basketball, but I love the NBA, so I want to spend a little time on just what went down today in NBA free agency and just kind of recap the day. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. I'm going to walk through just some of the major moves or key moves that went down in NBA free agency today. So I want to spend a little bit of time on that. So again, thank you for being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not. And let's get started. I'm going to first off, ton of deals went down. Ton of deals. And I thought the Athletic did a good job of just recapping part of, some of the deals that went down. And I just kind of want to walk through. I mean, I have a list here that I wrote down of all the different deals that went down. But I'll probably just focus on some of the bigger ones, how it impacts the NBA, how it impacts some of the contenders, players that maybe some surprises we didn't see coming, whatever the case is. Nonetheless, I think this is the perfect time to do it. And if you look at it, and we'll go through each one of these a little bit, whether it's VanVleet getting his $130 million from the Rockets. How about Desmond Bane getting $200 million from the Grizzlies? Tyrese Halliburton landing a 5-year max extension, which I think he deserves it. Kyrie Irving ends up with the Dallas Mavericks, so he's there on a 3-year deal. So a lot of moving and shaking going on in the NBA. Let's walk through this article for a quick second. I could give at least my thoughts on a little bit of everything here. So one of the first deals that I thought was one of the bigger surprises in free agency. It's not that I thought it was a lock that Fred VanVleet was going to sign with the Toronto Raptors, but the Houston Rockets, and I think there's a lot of people out there looking at Houston, and that they're kind of an interesting team to me. There's a lot of teams that finished in that bottom 3 or 4 in the Western Conference that you just assume are really bad. The Houston Rockets are quietly making some moves. And listen, Fred VanVleet certainly went out and got paid. That's probably a big reason why he ended up there. But 3 years, $130 million. If you're the Houston Rockets, you got a lot of young players. You're trying to rebuild. You went out there and got Ime Udoka, who's only been a head coach for 1 year in the NBA, got to the NBA Finals. Fred VanVleet certainly churned some heads here in Houston. Now, let me be frank on this one. Remember, there was conversation about James Harden potentially going back to Houston. Yeah, I'll take Fred VanVleet over James Harden. You already did that. But this is a money grab. And when I say it's a money grab, I'm talking about Fred VanVleet going out there, getting 3 years, $130 million. If they're offering him anything less than that, maybe he doesn't sign with the Rockets. He went and got his money. Now it's a matter of him to be a professional, go out there and see what he can do in helping turn around that franchise. The one that I don't think is much of a surprise, and I think most people out there would agree with me on this one, Draymond Green signing a contract to re-sign with the Warriors, 4 years, $100 million, and he's got a player option in that 4th year. So real quick on this one, because I always I think it's interesting to play some of these out here. But for me, what I found interesting with Draymond Green is if there was ever a time that you thought that Draymond Green might not be a Golden State Warrior, how about the moves that the Warriors made this offseason? Got rid of Jordan Poole, where there was tension. That's on Draymond Green. And then Draymond Green signing an extension for 4 years. So who's running that team, that organization. Draymond Green, a key piece of it. And I get it. They're trying to win a championship, and you have much better chance. You have a chance of winning a championship with Draymond on your team than Jordan Poole. And we'll see what else they do. I didn't really care for the Chris Paul thing. That was what the Golden State Warriors did, and they got to go get more size. I will tell you from a Laker perspective that the Lakers dominated them because of their size. And unless the Golden State Warriors go out there and get size, I really don't know how they're going to hang with some of the teams in the Western Conference. We'll see what happens. Kyrie Irving. For all the chatter, I was doing my radio show this morning. I thought it was kind of funny. There was a tweet that came out, and it was about Kyrie Irving meeting with, I don't know how many different teams. It was Lakers, Clippers, Dallas, list out 4 or 5 teams, whatever the case was. Maybe Phoenix was on that list. In my head, I'm like, why would he meet with anybody? Kyrie got what he was looking for. Dallas is going to have to figure out how they can win games. Kyrie and Luka together were 5-11 in 16 games together. But Kyrie was trying to get paid, and all this jockeying of he might go here, maybe he signs for the minimum. That ain't happening. Kyrie went and got paid. He's not a Los Angeles Laker. He's not a Phoenix Sun. He's a Dallas Maverick. 3 years, $126 million with a player option in year 3. Kyrie got his money. Mark Cuban probably thinking in his head, hey, man, I got to find a way to just bring this guy back. He's trying to show in some shape, way, or form how he can possibly keep Luka happy. And that move's not going to keep Luka happy, but what they do from here and how they surround the team with Luka is going to be obviously the biggest question mark there. We'll see. Maybe Kyrie Irving just comes back to playing basketball and likes it in Dallas and kind of changes some of people's predictions on what they think of Kyrie the rest of the way. A couple other guys here that I want to make note of that won't be on this list, and I'll get back to this list in just a second. Kyle Kuzma got 4 years and $102 million with the Washington Wizards. I'll say this about Kuz. The money part of it's going to be there. The winning is not. Kuz is going to get you stats. He's going to find ways. Now, maybe things change with their new GM that they have. I will say that he was already smart in trading away Bradley Beal and kind of trying to restart everything, trade away Porzingis as well, getting younger with Jordan Poole, Kuzma there as well. But that one's going to take time. So Kuzma's going to have great numbers. When I say great numbers, isn't they're going to look good on paper, but I don't know how much winning it's going to be. Kuzma gets a 4-year, $102 million deal. Jeremy Grant, the Blazers, got 5 years, $160 million. I'm going to tell you, I have absolutely no idea what the Portland Trail Blazers are doing. And if they don't find a way to trade Damian Lillard and just start rebuilding with Scoot, someone explain to me what they're doing. But Jeremy Grant got paid. It's a lot of money. I didn't know Jeremy Grant was going to get 5 years, 160, but they were trying to keep him, and they certainly got a chance to do that. A little bit later in the evening, a couple things went down. Some big-time young players are getting big-time contracts. Desmond Bane is getting $207 million. Desmond Bane certainly getting paid by the Grizzlies. This is kind of, one of the quieter teams so far that I think they're going to be an interesting team in the Western Conference next year. So if you're a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, you're kind of looking, okay, what teams are getting better? What teams got more talent? Whatever the case is. Watch out for the Memphis Grizzlies. Desmond Bane's an underrated player in the NBA. Granted, he's about to get 207, so I don't know how you're underrated for that. The Marcus Smart deal, I really, really like. Interesting that Derrick Rose signed a 2-year deal there, and Ja Morant already tweeted something about Derrick Rose, so there's probably some love. And I think what they're trying to do in Memphis there, they're trying to bring in competitors, smart people, vets, guys that have been in the league, good leaders. They're trying to do that to surround with Ja Morant. Oh, by the way, Steven Adams and Brandon Clark were both injured during the playoffs. They'll eventually come back. I like what the Memphis Grizzlies are building there. Now it's just going to be up to Ja Morant. Are you going to find a way to be a part of a franchise that's trying to win and have you as their focal point, as their foundation, or are you going to keep getting in the way of your own success and your franchise's success? One of my favorite point guards in the NBA, Tyrese Halliburton, got $260 million. I think there's it can be worth up to $260 million. It's a 5-year deal. The Indiana Pacers, you guys remember, he got traded to the Sacramento Kings, or from the Sacramento Kings. Everybody hated that trade in the beginning. Domantas Sabonis is doing his own work in Sacramento. I got all love for what the Kings are doing there and what Sabonis is doing there. I like franchises that we're not having success and starting to make some noise with some young pieces. But Tyrese, $260 million. That's some crazy, crazy money there. It shows you what the NBA, just the value and how the league is just making so much more money and it's trickling down to the players. Tyrese getting paid max extension agreement. So I love this. I don't know if you guys saw this. Tyrese Halliburton, after he got his contract and it all came up on, obviously it became public. He posted this. Come on. If you get 260, that is what you put out there. You just start laughing at the rest of the world. Solid for Indiana, kind of a no-brainer, but he gets the $260 million. Okay, I'm going to skip some. I'm going to skip some of these. I'm going to skip ones that I just don't think that we're going to have some interest in. And I'm going to go back to the ones that, I think are more top line, I guess you can call it. Fred VanVleet, I already talked a little bit about, and I remember this. Fred VanVleet, this was a few years back, had a tweet out there, bet on yourself. And that was, dating back to when he got his first contract with the Toronto Raptors. And then he puts out a tweet this a couple hours ago or so, basically bet on himself again. And this is where he is, got paid that $130 million. Keep going down here. There's a couple others that I want to get to, but some of the ones that I just don't think are that big of a deal, I'm not going to pay too much attention to. I mentioned the Derrick Rose. So his deal is 2 years, $6.5 million. By the way, I had no idea Derrick Rose was still getting checks in the league. I know he's still in the league. But this one was with the New York Knicks. This one, I think, just has more to do with the relationship with Ja Morant. So we'll see how that one eventually pans out. This was kind of a good list here, but before I do it, I just want to mention a couple other names. Chris Middleton with the Milwaukee Bucks is getting a 3-year, $102 million deal. No big surprise there. He's a nice player. Cam Johnson, I like that deal for the Brooklyn Nets. 4 years, $108 million. Listen, if you went out, you traded Kevin Durant, you got a couple play Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson back. You got some draft picks. You got to make sure you secure those guys, and they took care of Cam Johnson. Bruce Brown got 2 years, $45 million with the Pacers. So he's getting his money. And then this is who's left. For Laker fans out there, I think still trying to figure out what's going to happen with D'Angelo Russell. And excuse me there. There better be a ton of bless yous in the comments. I mean, if I don't get a bless you, look, it happened around the 13th minute. There better be some bless yous there. Okay, so D'Angelo Russell, I think the question is going to be, what's his value? Are the Lakers kind of gauging if there's a lot of interest? Are the Lakers going to kind of wait and say, you know what? I know you got 31 last year, but we want to offer you a couple of years, and this is the type of money we're going to give. We're going to give you around $20 million a year. I don't know what the market is for him, but I will say his performance really, really hurt what I think his free agency value is, and that's who's left. Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is going to find a home somewhere. Problem with Dylan Brooks, he just looked so stupid. He looked so dumb. Obviously during the playoffs, the way he was running his mouth and how poorly he was playing. Brook Lopez was a player I really wanted to see the Lakers go after. It doesn't look like they're in position now to be able to do that because of some of the money that they've already spent. But Brook Lopez is out there. Christian Wood's out there. There might be a couple players. Max Strus got paid. I know he eventually got paid. And then a couple of the smaller deals. Dennis Schroeder to the Raptors. Let the man eat a little bit as well. $26 million deal for him. I thought he earned his contract. I thought he played really tough for Lakers. I thought he was actually one of the more underrated players for the Lakers, period, all of last season. So nice to see him get a chance to, obviously get paid as well. Um, Only other guys that I want to mention, um, only other players that I want to mention, there were a couple, and I'm going to take off this share screen here real quick. So, as far as there's some players still out there that we're going to have to obviously kind of wait and see on. Um, the Lakers did some moves. They re-signed Rui Hachimura. They added Gabe Vincent. So there was a couple players that the Lakers were able to grab, but the big names are pretty much done. The big names, the names that I was, that we kind of waited on, Fred VanVleet, all right, Chris Middleton, Draymond Green, those guys, those are all off the books. You don't have to worry about those guys anymore. I think what makes it interesting from here is, okay, what's going to happen to James Harden? What kind of trades potentially are going to be out there? Are there going to be players that you see today that are going to get moved before, by the time free agency is done, or anything along those lines? So that I always found fascinating. I always find that to be fun in free agency, and we'll just have to wait and see on that. But as of right now, that is the recap to game one, day one of free agency. And a lot went on. It was actually a lot louder than I thought it was going to be. Still nothing crazy, but I thought louder than I initially had thought. And a lot of those deals just kind of sprinkled throughout the day. So that is my free agency day number one recap. I hope, if you guys don't mind, you could subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. Putting up a lot of Laker content, starting to put up a lot more NBA content as well. So please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being a part of the show. Tomorrow we'll come back. We'll do this again, and whether that's just recapping day two, or if there's stuff just going on through the day that I feel like I got to get back on. So thank you for being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night.